Thank you, TMOD Suraj. So, President of this meeting, Toastmaster Pratish. I know that we have our CGD Arjun with us, but I still address Pratish first because the etiquette of the days demands that the presiding officer be addressed first, all others later. The president is the ultimate authority, the presiding officer of the day. And he's the one who can either send somebody out or make decisions on the days. That is how it is. So Pratish, and then of course now Arjun, our CGD Arjun, who is there to support every new club and who has decided it is his life's mission to share his knowledge with the world of Toastmasters, not only in District 1-1, I don't know where else, what else he does, but 1-1, I definitely know. We're fortunate to have him as CGD. And of course, we have other district officials. I think we have a division director, Kavita, here, and AD Shirley John, and we have our own AD, the hardworking Suja. And then how can I forget the backbone of this entire initiative that you have, your own DVD, Safir, who has been there for every little thing, responds to everything, and a leader up there. Greetings to all of you, dear Toastmasters of Lead Orators, KBS Titans, and other clubs who Toastmasters of other clubs, or if there are guests here. So I've been asked to speak about the fact that a Toastmaster wears many hats. I guess all of us everywhere these days wear many hats. But what's the difference between a Toastmaster wearing many hats and other people? The difference that I see is a Toastmaster is willing to wear a hat that he or she was not ready to wear, but sometimes being persuaded to wear, and many times the hat is thrust on us. Why do we agree to do that? We agree to do that because we've joined to learn. And we know that learning does not come easy. Learning will not come to us in a platter like this. To be able to learn, we have to wear many hats, and we may have to do things that we did not prepare ourselves for. Pratish himself said at 1 o'clock, I was told that I had to preside over this meeting, and I'm doing it now. Pratish, you are living your Toastmasters pledge. That's all I can say. Yeah, so we wear many hats. So let me say, let me put up my screen for you. It's not that I have too many things on the screen. My screen is just to remind me what point I can take up. And the screen tells me, try a new hat. Now, as I said, learning doesn't come on a platter. We do need to stretch our arms to try a new hat. Many times we would have gone as table topic master and somebody told us, hey, there's no timer. Timer is absent. Timer has not come. Will you also be timer? Yes, 2 hats at one time. And we've gone as evaluator sometimes and we are told, hey, grammarian has not come. Will you be grammarian? All right, timer, evaluator here and grammarian here. And many times we have gone as without being functionaries, footloose and fancy free. I will sit there, aram say, I will sit and listen. Sometimes I will dream, give my head on higher, but I'll be in the meeting. I'll sit aram say, nothing to do today. Haha, go take a walk. You're at the Toastmasters meeting. You will get something to do that day. Wear a new hat. And many times I have seen people who have come without being functionaries and walked out being speakers. They have given a prepared speech. When did they prepare? As they sat there. You speak fourth. There are 3 people. Fourth you speak. You will get 25 minutes, right? And you had already prepared, I know. So you speak. And they have spoken, and they've spoken well. And they were happy with that. So my point, dear friends, is do try a new hat. It's like greatness, you know. Some of us are born great. What is that saying? Some of us are born great. Some of us acquire greatness. Some of us have greatness thrust on us. Likewise, hats also, sometimes we are ready with the hat. Sometimes somebody offers and persuades us to wear the hat. Sometimes the hat is thrust on the head wear it and proceed. So that's how it is. Let me move on to the different roles that we need. Yeah, here it is. Okay. So I start with the speaker role first. My point is, why do you think I put the speaker role first? You can unmute and just give me an answer. I have put speaker first. Why speaker? I just shout out your answers. It should be all right. Why speaker first? Anyone? Why do you think I put speaker first?
Is it because the speaker brings out the word that charms everyone?
Brings out the, pardon, you'll have to repeat once again.
Speaker brings out the words in the speech that charms everyone.
Okay, the speaker is the charmer. All right, we'll hold that. Anybody else? Why speaker first?
We are in Toastmasters to speak.
Yeah, the objective of the movement itself is to speak. Okay, all right. I will give one more chance to somebody. Why speaker first?
Bharati ma'am, I'll just echo what Nikhil said on chat. Speaker is the backbone of the meeting. I echo the same thing.
All right. Okay. All right. So the points that I've got is speaker is the charmer. Speaker is the one who spreads the charm, and speaker is the backbone of the meeting. While I accept what you said, I will say something now that will sort of hopefully make your eyebrows go up. I have put speaker first, dear friends, because according to me, that is the easiest role in Toastmasters, in the meeting. Easiest role. Yeah, you will say, what are you saying? I have sweated and I have prepared from 1 month, and that speech has been edited by my mentor. I've tried to study it, and here I am trying to give my speech and saying it's the easiest. I do agree with the fact that it is being there is difficult. But you know, the speaker is the one person who has enough time to prepare. You have taken on the role of the speaker 1 month earlier. You had a month to prepare. That you did not prepare for 1 month is no excuse. We don't prepare the previous evening. You had a month to prepare. You had time to prepare. You volunteered or you were persuaded, whatever. So I consider that to be the easiest. You have studied your speech. I mean, I don't mean by heart. I mean, you have studied the speech. You know what it is about. You have come there. You have only one purpose. Even if somebody is lying false before you, if you must see the speaker getting up to speak, he will step on that person and go and speak on the days. That much of focus the speaker has. Go there, 7 minutes, deliver your speech, then come back, and you don't need to do anything else. Easiest is the speaker because you have time to prepare, and that is why I have put it first. All the other things that you have said is the easiest. Now, when I say speaker, we prepare, right? I think it is our duty to be creative when we are preparing our speech. Prepare on a topic, on a theme that you have never touched. You owe it to yourself to be creative. It is very easy to get points for a speech from the internet, but that doesn't mean we do it. You are a unique person. You have your stories. You have the thoughts that you have. You have things that you're happy about. You have ideas that you are angry about. Use those because you are unique. Nobody else has the thoughts that the life experience that you have is your own. We owe it to ourselves, we owe it to our club, and we owe it to the movement to speak on things that are difficult for us, to bring up thoughts that we never did earlier, to put humor into it. Now, I'm going to ask you a question when it comes to being a speaker. Is doing a humorous speech easy or difficult? Tough or easy? Unmute and just shout out your answers. Being a humorous
speech is easy, but making people laugh is a bit difficult.
Yeah, humor is only that. Introducing humor is people don't need to laugh. Ha ha ha. If they did, oh God, I would be flying if people laughed at what I said. I mean, in the intended meaning. But even to bring a smile on people's faces, sometimes we don't know why. I found it very funny. You didn't find it funny at all. At home, it always happens. I say things expecting my husband to laugh, ha ha ha. And then he will say, over. I said, what over? I thought you will laugh. I've learned now that it doesn't work. We are on two different platforms. So I tell him, this is something funny I found. It's like I'm telling him, I don't expect you to laugh, but I found it funny and I want to share. That's all. So the thing is, being funny is not easy, but let us try. Let us try. Let us try to express anger in a speech. There is a method to do it. Let us try to speak about things that we didn't speak. And that is one thing that I want to motivate you to do as speakers. Make the speech difficult for you. Making it easy for you is not a challenge. You will find that with a little practice, you will enjoy the difficulty level. And that is what will spark ideas in your mind. That's what will make you appreciate yourself and pat your own back. Have a difficult speech. And then, of course, I have Topics Master. Now, when I say Topics Master, even that is very easy. That is something that is taken on at the last minute. Oh, we don't have Topics Master. Okay, I'll do Topics Master. Many of us who have been in the meeting, we will bring up. Even here, it is a challenge, dear friends. If there's a theme, you have to. I won't say you have to. There's nothing have to here. It is all voluntary. It's nice if you adhere to the theme, because the Toastmaster of the day would have, what do we say? Soch samajh kar theme kiya hoga. Some theme they would have kept. So respect the effort of the Toastmaster of the day and try to match your topics to the theme. And if you can't, you might, speak about the fact that you weren't able to. I did that once. I wasn't able to get topics on the theme for some reason. And I did express my regret, because the Toastmaster of the day feels respected and the whole meeting feels integrated when you have topics that are in consonance with the theme. It's just related. I'm related, first cousin, second cousin, twice removed. All these are okay, but related. And then have let's say, creativity here. Sometimes you may ask for a fantasy theme, if you were, or sometimes you give situational. What do you think when you're at the dentist? What do you think when you're at the market? Make it situational. Have a marketing theme. Bring things in a dabba and ask people to dip their hands into it. The first thing that you come, you have to stand here and sell it. All these things that are there at college events, those things can be put at a Toastmasters meeting itself. Only thing is, if you're a lecturer, don't expect your Toastmaster members to be as creative as the 17-year-olds in your college. Sometimes it doesn't work like that. Many of us have become so stratified, so settled in our formal ways of thinking that the creativity somehow takes a back seat. But then do help members by bringing out. Ask them to do a role play. Ask them to get into a time machine. When you're 10 years old, or 15 years ago, 20 years ago, what time in your life? So have a time machine. Make a story builder theme. Ask people to speak for 2 minutes, create a story, ask the next one to come and continue the story. So you see, Topics Master only mean you motivate speakers who have volunteered or who are pushed. Sometimes we push people from behind, go, you become the next speaker. We motivate members who are there to speak without preparation, but we have to help them as they are standing there. We have to support them. They have to know that you're there for them. Should they not be able to continue, always be there for them. So that's how it is. So these two are the easiest roles that we have as a Toastmaster. All right. I come to the third one. My third slide, the evaluator, accounter, and grammarian. Now, there's something common among these. Would you be able to, think about what is common among these? Why have I put these three in one? Anyone?
Listening skill.
Listening skill, yeah.
Yes. Listening skill. No doubt about that. And because we listen, you're right when you say listening skill. Because we listen, we give feedback. And that feedback is personal, one person to one person. Of course, grammarian can give a general feedback, but an evaluator is personal. You give it to the speaker the speaker who has spoken. And the R counter also, you have to many times give it to that particular person. Even R counter sometimes is not given personally, but you can give if you want. And even grammarian, you can give if you want. And you would notice that I have put a seedling there and I've put a heart this on the left side. Can anyone read those, read meanings into those? One seedling on the right, one heart on the left. What do you think? I've put it thoughtfully.
Growth and
Yeah,
constructive evaluation.
Pardon? Structured?
Growth.
Somebody?
Growth.
Cross. I am hearing it as cross. Am I right? Okay, I heard it as structured evaluation. All right, all right. Anybody else? I'll keep that structured evaluation. Anybody else?
Evaluation should be like, it should not be so critical that will hinder the growth of the sapling.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah, we are getting there. We're getting there. See, you're right, Suja. You see, we're giving feedback, but that feedback is meant for growth. The feedback has to be a support. The feedback is meant to pat the person's back and say, yeah, I recognize that you have put in efforts and I like this, and I hope you'll do better. And I'm happy to be able to give you this feedback. I was happy to be your evaluator and things like that. So, all right, when you're saying evaluation, dear friends, we're always used to listening to this sandwich method of evaluation. What's the sandwich method? You say something good first, and then you suggest points for improvement, and then again you tell the person what you liked very much. The sandwich method has worked, it does work, and somehow it seems to be still working. But my point is, you don't really need to always get into the sandwich method. You can start with a single point that you liked and then get into what you thought could be done better. And sometimes 45%, let's say 60% of it is only what you liked very much. And then small things that you thought could improve. So you don't need to do 30, 33, 33. All these things are not needed. But let's say for an icebreaker, somebody is speaking for the first time. And if we put a percentage on what you appreciate and the suggestions that you can give, can anyone give me a percentage? For example, 50, 50, 40, 60 or whatever. If you're giving appreciation and let's say suggestion, what percentage would you give for an icebreaker?
Bharati ma'am, this is Arjun here. This is something I personally practice while evaluating an icebreaker speech.
Yes.
Although I believe the fact that giving a feedback in every speech is absolutely necessary, for an icebreaker, I would just focus on the strength and the fact that the speaker has come forward and then delivered a speech, much more than focusing on points of improvement. Points of improvement is something that we can take care of as a process.
Always.
But only one point I would say, in case anything is glaring, say for example, the practice part of it is less. The speaker has not practiced well, if I feel so. That's the only kind of point which I would bring forward. Otherwise, no other feedback.
Yes. Well, I do see it that way, and I have practiced it that way. If I would give you something, I would say maybe 95% would just be the fact that she has or he has come to the stage and delivered the speech. That's it. We have to learn to be able to be like that. And as I said, as Arjun said, only if there is something very glaring. I have given a suggestion about maybe you could mentor your speech, because it didn't sound like an icebreaker at all, what that person said. It sounded as if speaking about somebody else. Something like that. I said, maybe have your speech mentored, which will happen. So for an icebreaker, do not really give too many suggestions, because it doesn't mean anything. And remember, it's done in public. Now, our threshold of accepting suggestions or criticism in public is not fully developed. If it is a one-to-one suggestion, we are ready to take. But in public, we don't know people's, let's say, threshold as they are standing there. And I vouch for the fact that all of us have very delicate feelings. I've put in such a lot of effort. And if you just stand there, first time I'm coming there, give me 3-4 suggestions, I will by nature think only of those suggestions, and all the appreciation that you have given as an evaluator slides down, and only those suggestions are there in my mind. I'll feel disheartened. Not logical, but it is how I'm going to feel. So be careful when you are evaluating an icebreaker speech. So let's say the labor and the sweat of the speaker has to be understood. But if you are evaluating a practiced speaker, speak about, if you have listened to the speaker earlier, speak about the fact that from this to this, you have expectations. Many times, the fact that people have expectations of us make us grow. If the world doesn't have any expectations of us, it may not motivate us to grow. All of us are not self-starters. All of us are not self-motivated. Many times we are motivated because others think that we should help that person. So that heart is meant for that person as a support when you are an evaluator. Let me come to our counter now. Now our counter, I'm going to stop screen sharing now because it's just my, let's say, the topics there. I haven't put anything under that. So when we come to our counter, dear friends, there is an opinion that Toastmasters is a little, let's say, out of tick with the universe. Why do you need an R counter? Is an R counter necessary? An R counter takes away the charm of speaking. All of us naturally have R's and ums. So there is a critical outlook when it comes to R counter. Would you think it is, what do you think about it? I know it is difficult to, unmute and speak, but we can't listen. I'm open to that. Let's listen to you. Needed, not needed, what? R counter.
Very much needed, I feel. People like me had, I think my first speech had more than 27 to 30 hours.
No, you are a champion. Champion. Okay.
So I think, after that, my R counter lost the patience to count again. But I think now that has come down to 5 or less while I give speech of 7 minutes. So that is only made possible 10 years of Toastmastering and because of that role. That's all.
Yes. Oh, 10 years of Toastmastering. All right. Not a small period. Yes. Yes, that Nikhil said, yes, very much necessary. Anybody else would like to say something? Our counter. Is he the bogeyman or bogey woman? What? All right. Yeah.
Yes,
so
yes. Good afternoon, madam.
Please.
My dear Toastmasters. Our counter is a must. My name is Dhananjayan.
Yes.
And I'm from Perintalmana Toastmasters Club. It's very much required because when somebody gives a speech, a person who is continuously saying, I mean, or actually, or I do, that create problems. So if somebody is speaking very clearly without any anything, one would love to listen and he will concentrate, he will attract, the speaker will grab the attention of the audience. So our counter is a must, and slowly I have observed many times finding out and saying that X has told this much, Y has told this much, time or or U, then that will help the person to improve, incorporate in the next speeches. Thank you for giving
Yes. Thank you, Dhananjayan and Nikhil, of course. Yes, I see it that way too. You see, our counter has points out crutch words, unnecessary R's and ums. R's and ums are unnecessary. inappropriate interjections as and then and so and these things like that, repetitions, pauses, all that we know what an R counter does. According to me, the most important thing that happens, the learning that happens with an R counter is the R sounds. We may not be able to obliterate the repetitions and the crutch words, because for many of us, English is not our mother tongue. It is not my mother tongue. And in my house, I don't speak English, though now I'm forced to speak English to my granddaughter who lives in USA, no choice. But otherwise, we don't speak English at home. The process of speaking in a language that is not our own sometimes makes us resort to crutch words, and that is understandable. But we don't need crutch sounds. It is the crutch sounds that is the difference between a Toastmaster and a non-Toastmaster. And I vouch for this after almost 20 years in Toastmaster. What are the crutch sounds? The ah, the and the These sounds, you will find a Toastmaster has the least of them. Crutch words we might have. It depends on our vocabulary, it depends on our reading, it depends on whether I'm a writer or a teacher and things like that. Words may not be in our control, but the sounds are in our control. And that is what I have found. You know, there is a club in Florida, I understand, the June 2021 Toastmaster magazine tells us that there's a club in Florida which has a bell, I believe. Every time a speaker has a crutch sound, do you believe? Ting tong. I mean, that I think is taking it to another extreme. If somebody said ting tong in my speech, I would probably glare at that person. But they have gotten used to it, which tells us about the importance that is given to the crutch sounds. And I very much understand the need for it. In fact, in Port Town Advanced Toastmasters, that is the second club in which I was a member, we decided, since it's an advanced club, sorry, we don't need an R counter, okay? But after a few years, like maybe it's just about six years old, the club. After about 4 or 5 years, we decided we will bring back the R counter. We went without an R counter for some years. Because the value of an R counter is always the fact that you've also improved. So, see, Nikhil told us, I had some 20 plus hours, and now maybe I have about 5 hours. All of us will have, no doubt about that. But the fact that I've improved is a registered fact. The R counter has told me now I have only 5. I think even that is a motivating factor. So like an icebreaker speech, be kind to newcomers, be kind to visitors. You can say for visitors, we don't count the R's. For newcomers, for the first 2 speeches, we will not count the R's. Maybe now that it's pathways, for the first level, we won't count the R's. I mean, you can have different policies in your clubs. Just because there is an R counter, if it's starting to become a problem, let's say, then you decide on your policies, but the R counter is necessary. But at all times, dear friends, be kind, because kindness is the only thing that motivates people who have come here to learn and who may not have the support that everyone has. We have different levels of support, but where it is necessary, be aggressive, be aggressive. There's no doubt about that. For a Toastmaster of many years standing, we don't need to say, sometimes you are so anxious about displeasing somebody, very senior member, been there for charter member, been there for 15 years in the club, and I am new. How can I count the hours of that person? That person speaks well, evaluates well, but some people have more hours than the others. So we see this hesitation to count the hours. Tell your newcomers and all the students and the newcomers here. I have seen that students are not hesitant to point out hours. It's only as we grow older, we are anxious. I don't want to displease somebody. The students of our club, absolutely no compunction. Somebody who is 60 plus, they will say, ma'am, you had 12 hours in this speech of 4 minutes. No hesitation at all. It doesn't matter. But those of us who are like 35, 40, and we've seen that member from many years, yo, how to point out her us? Should I do that? Will they speak to me at the next meeting or not? All sorts of thoughts, and these things are there, but it's necessary that we do that, because this is the only place your hours will be pointed out. Nowhere else. Our students in the class will not point out our hours, as if they will listen to us full, like Toastmaster. Who will listen? I had, I am teaching Hamlet, and my one student, literature student, is optional English, okay, writing some time schedule. Ma'am, I have to go somewhere, I have to give some time schedule to somebody. Little Hamlet I will learn next class. Okay, Hamlet can be there. Who will listen to us in class? But in a Toastmasters meeting, we have people who will listen to us. And that is why, again, it behoves us to have the R counter being aggressive sometimes and telling us where to get off. You have that many R's. And when it comes to grammarian too, of course, a grammarian highlights the exceptional word usage and sentence structure. The important thing when it comes to grammarian is we don't need to have experts who are grammarians. In our club especially, we have a lot of English professors, okay. Our club is the first club in the coast, Mangalore coast, to have to start the Toastmasters movement. Somehow, most of the English profs of the city landed up in our club. So members in our club say, I can't be a grammarian. There are English profs in the audience. No, it doesn't matter at all. You become the grammarian. You tell people, I like these words. So many people use the word of the day. They use the phrase of the day. All these things are needed because they have taken pains to do it. And then I have a doubt. I'm not sure if this is wrong. Will anybody speak about it? So throw it open to the house to clarify the grammatical doubt. And remember, the role of a grammarian is not only grammar. It is again about raising our threshold of accepting criticism about language. And that has to be a built-in to a Toastmaster, acceptance of criticism. The only thing is we are so used to being Toastmasters and saying, you had this error in this and you had this error in this. You go to some other institution, some other group, and by default, we say, this is not like this, this had to be said like this. Somebody spoke from the dais. And they will look at you and say, you are not here to be a grammarian here. You be a grammarian in your Toastmasters club only. Fine, I will be there, a grammarian in a Toastmasters club. Let me not carry it over to other institutions. The problem here is, we are so accepting of suggestions. We are so open to criticism because we form a community that says, okay, we are all here to learn. We're all adults, but we are here to learn. It's all right. Let's not be so sensitive to suggestions. But the outside world is not that. I can see Pratish grinning. Do we have lecturers here? Do we have college profs? Pratish, you are?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm not. There are members who are college students.
Yes. So you know what I'm saying, right? So that's how it is. As grammarian, have different policies. Sometimes as grammarian, what I do is, I do have names of people, and then I say, you said this, for example, Pratish, in your speech, you said this, or Safir, in your speech, you said this, and I point it out. But then it was pointed out to me, we don't need to take people's names and say, you said this and this. But if there is a continuous practice by some person of, let's say, not adhering to grammatical correctness, you can say, let's say, I say, Safir, you might need to pay attention to the article usage in your speeches, because over the years, I have seen that you have improved in your article usage, but maybe you can pay attention to it more. Have a general sort of thing. And if members are willing, have their names and speak about the improvements they can do. So highlight those who use the word for the day, highlight those who use the phrase for the day. This is the let's say, the duty that you have to do as grammarian, because people expect. Do you have members in your club who say, Hey, I used the word for the day. You did not say it. Do you have? Yes or no? Oh, in my club, it's very much there. I used. Oh, yes, I said, please forgive. So we have a clause in the beginning itself. I have noticed 5 people using it. This. If there is somebody else, speak up now. It's like, like a wedding vow. If you have an objection, speak up now or forever be there, like that. So it is our duty. So these three functions, these 3 hats that we wear, that of the evaluator, accounter, and the grammarian, are those that have a lot of responsibility in nurturing the members towards becoming better speakers. Of course, what is the next one that I have here? I have finished these. And I'm going to this timer, general evaluator, and TMOD. All right. So what's the speciality of these 3? Timer, general evaluator. Why have I put that bulb, do you think? What does that bulb signify?
Like
What do you think?
timing.
You can bring in creativity.
All right, creativity. All right, but we can't be creative when it comes to timing.
Oh, I've seen a lot of creative things in-
TMOD, yes. TMOD, yes, definitely. No doubt about that. It is that you have to be on all the time. No going off. On. Even as TMOD, you get some time between when the table topic session is going on, but still you cannot really afford to be off. That is why these are roles that these days, especially on Zoom, timer, general evaluator, TMOD, the president or VP head has to touch people's feet. Will you be timer? Will you be general evaluator? Because you have to sit through the meeting, throughout the meeting, and you have to be there on. And of course, it is a supporting role, no doubt about that. When it comes to timer, dear friends, okay, this is not what I meant to. Yeah, I'll stop share. Yeah, when it comes to timer, that is one role that I would say is full of sacrifice, commitment, meticulousness, because it's a thankless job ultimately. Many times people forget to even thank the timer. The timer is taken for granted as if it's a machine. A timer is not a machine. A timer is somebody who's committed to you full time. So if we take on that role, I think at the end of the meeting, there is one satisfaction that we have, that I have served this meeting. Service, just plain service. And the meticulousness that comes from noting and speaking about it. We don't even have to speak. We are like machines, like in a railway station. This one took 3 minutes and 10 seconds, this, that, thank you very much. Nothing else to speak for all that you have done in the entire meeting. But then this is how it is. And I think we have to take on being timers. These days, I take on timers role more than anything. And when I say general evaluator, what is a general evaluator? What does the general evaluator evaluate? We have to remember, do not touch the speeches at all. No. The speeches have been touched by the evaluators. You are not there to look at the content of the speeches or anything. You are there to tell us how the meeting has proceeded. How has been the preparation of the meeting? How have been the performance of duties? How has been the timing? The timing has been kept. Has there been fairness in the introduction? You are there to see how the meeting has been conducted from the beginning till the end, from the preparation planning of the meeting till the end of the meeting. You touch upon evaluators if you want to motivate them only. Speak about something special that the evaluator, you can do that. You have the right as a general evaluator. And of course, your organizational abilities are at the fore as general evaluator. You have your team of evaluators, you have your tag team. Some people don't like the usage of this word tag team. I have no problem with that. TAG, timer, and accounter and grammarian. Your organizational abilities improve when you take on general evaluators. So remember, when the general evaluator's report comes, everybody is sort of, raring to close the meeting and just be on their way, because the speeches have been given, evaluation is over, and the table topics are done. But then there are functionaries whom you need to touch upon, whom you need to motivate them, see that they do their job well. And once the speeches are over, ask for the timer's report. Once the timer's report is over, if there is a voting to be done, ask the members to vote for the best speaker. These are things that you can do as a general evaluator, that is the TMOD, sorry, not the general evaluator, TMOD. So your value is you improve your organizational ability. And as TMOD, of course, you are the thread that weaves the entire meeting together. Have a creative theme. My only grouse with the TMOD is Toastmaster of the Day. Okay, you come with some content related to your theme. Now, you have to be alert to see that you don't take up time between speeches and take your audience away from the actual speech that is going to come. The speakers are the heroes. The speakers are the people the speakers, evaluators, and others. You are just a functionary that is threading the meeting together. Don't take up too much time between speeches because you have a written script. I think we have to be flexible when it comes to that. You have to know the titles of the speeches, because the title of the speeches is announced by the Toastmaster of the Day. Have introductions of the functionaries, very crisp introductions, maybe between speeches, not even 30 seconds. Quick 1-2 sentences of introduction. Don't have lengthy introduction. You have the same, our club is almost, I think about 21 years old. And we have charter members. And if the same members are introduced in the same manner every time, it doesn't make sense. So you have to see if the same people are there. We don't need to have lengthy introduction. So just because you're asked to introduce, be flexible, don't do it. Have snippets of some interesting trivia about the theme that you have chosen the theme. So you have the right to bring up some trivia. Make it interesting, make it fresh for the audience. I had somebody who, let's say, she was speaking about different types of wines. And she brought different types of wine glasses and showed it to us in between speeches. How the wine glass, that there are these flute wine glasses, and there are these round shaped wine glasses, how to hold them, and these kind of things. It was very interesting. There was somebody else who had perfume as a theme, and she brought different perfume bottles, which were collections by her mother, 20 bottles in a basket. So you freshen up the meeting by bringing in this sort of trivia, because you also have a role there. There's no doubt about that. And let me move on from this function to the next one that I would like to. All right, let me share my screen. And this is one hat, dear friends, that I urge all of you to take up. You see that the executive committee member, you see that visual of a graduate there. Anyone who cares to tell me why I put that there on top of the executive committee member? I mean, it's just a reading. It's just a thought. What do you think? Why that?
Actually,
go ahead, Linda.
Yes, please.
We can't hear you, Linda.
She's trying to speak, is it?
Yeah, she was trying to speak.
Okay.
Bharati, is it sticking together?
Pardon? Yeah. Okay, it's there. You see, you see that wall behind? That wall is something I love very much. It's very representative of my city, Mangalore, which has a tropical climate, and in the rainy season you will see this kind of wall. And there's a lot of growth on that wall. They say a rolling stone gathers no moss. Let's not be rolling stones. We have to be there for our club. We have to take on roles as executive committee members. And it is then that we graduate.
Yeah.
Why? That is why I have put that graduation hat there. Unless you have become an executive committee member, you will not learn what it is to face disappointment, to have shocks thrust on you at the last minute, to have volunteers just dropping down. We get training in handling emergencies, erratic behavior, disappointments. All that is only when you wear the hat of the executive committee member and you have graduated. Remember one thing, when you are the executive committee member of a voluntary organization, you have only responsibilities, no power. Only responsibility. We cannot order anybody to do anything. We are not paying salaries to anybody. We do not have an hierarchy where people will lose their jobs if they don't do things. This is not a job. Anything that somebody does for us is a gift that they give to us. As the president of the club, any small service, accept it as a gift. I cannot order that person. So only responsibilities, no power. That is why you graduate. This training that you get as an executive committee member of a voluntary organization, you will never get anywhere else, because in the firm, in the college, in the office, there is an hierarchy and instructions have to be followed. I don't need to worry about it, but here it is not like that. And that is why I urge you to don the hat of an executive committee member. All right, the next one, I'm supposed to take up this as well. Very, very soon I'll finish this. Toastmaster wears many hats. I've been asked to touch upon this hat of the Toastmaster, and that is the hat of the MC. And Suja, our AD, has asked me to just touch upon this. Now I have a kite there. Now we say, go and fly your kite somewhere. So as MC, you are the genial host, the facilitator, and the motivator. You can't be anything else there. On stage, the buck stops with you. So in India, you know that as an MC, at the end of the day, you wonder, is this function mine or is this function that of the organizers? Am I the person who has organized this function? It is as if only you are bothered about what is there on the agenda. The organizers are happy, la la la, going around. Oh, there we have an MC. But you have to convey to the MC what that person has to do. But no, the MC herself has to go and ask, what is this? So let's look at the prep. The prep is when you are the MC of the organization, you have to ask the history of that function. Why do we have this function? What is the purpose of this? What is the regularity of this? Is it an annual function? Do you have it once in 6 months? Get the history of it. Go into that as if you are the organizer, as if you are the host. Only when you take on the persona of the host of the function can you be an MC. You cannot shed that hat easily. You have to take on the entire thing. Prep is that. And then of course, the other things, they're very small things, dear friends. The agenda, get the agenda. And you know, I have, when I was used to be MC earlier, these days, I hope nobody asks me to be MC. It's difficult to say no to some people. So I just keep hoping, dear God, let them not ask me to be MCs. There are younger people, there are fresh people, they need to know. I somehow managed to get out of it. But I have grown as an MC. I have grown. I've taken on roles as MCs and grown. In the agenda, there is A garlands B. Okay, Mr. A garlands B. So I asked the person, no, A is to be garlanded. That's all in the agenda. So I asked the organizer, who garlands A? Who? What do you mean? Yes, somebody has to garland. The garland will not come and fall on its own. Who will garland A? Oh, we have to nominate somebody to garland, right? According to them, they have brought the garland. The person to be garlanded is seated there on the dais. Who is not mentioned? Everything has to be scanned by the MC, at least here, that's how it is. Scan it, have a mental picture of what is happening on the dais, what will happen next, who will do this, and go to the organizers and get that information. And that's how I mean, go to the functionaries. And the introductions of people. Now here, there is one thing that you have to remember. When you are introducing people, you don't decide who is more important and who is less important. If you have given 1.5 minutes to one person, give that to all who are on the stage. We are nobody to decide who is more and who is less. It would be very unfair of us to get a 2 pages introduction for somebody and 2 lines for somebody. I have seen it happening. I've seen it happening. It crushes the people who come with your 2-sentence introduction after a, let's say, 2-page introduction of somebody. We don't intend anything. We have not got it from the organizers, but somehow you are the person who will balance these things there. And because you hold the self-esteem of those people who are coming on the stage in your hands when you are doing the introduction. You are prepping them to give their best. Be on their side, be kind to them. Okay. And then, all right, on stage. The first one, alert. You see that face on the right? That image on the right? That is who you are as MC. Big eyes, always alert. There is no sleeping. Even when there is a session going on there, you are the one who has to be ready on the side to see that the speaker doesn't crumble there. What if I have seen speakers crumble on stage, and I have had to bring people to take them manually away, to carry them away. I mean, these things don't happen all the time, but I know that they can happen. I have seen boards crumble fall on the head of the speaker. There are whiteboards sometimes, we do all sorts of things on the stage as MC. It's not that you are in charge, but you are there. So be alert. The next speaker will not come. Okay, be prepared to take on the next speaker. So alert all the time. And the best thing you can do is transitions, remember, from one to the other. If you are thanking somebody, don't do let's say, don't take on the role of the vote of thanks, the person who's giving the vote of thanks. If you're saying a 1-sentence thank you, say that 1 sentence to everybody. Again, it has to be fairness to all. Don't decide somebody. Sometimes we ourselves are so taken up by some speaker or some film stars sometimes. I've seen the film stars come on the stage. After the film star leaves, it is as if the MC has been drained of all energy, and that there's nothing left for the others. Not true, not true. You're the one who's, the speakers, it is as if the speakers say, all our Maryada is in your hands, you please look after us. Look after the speakers or the functionaries or the ones who are dancing or singing or something. You're there. And most importantly, have somebody with you as assistant. You cannot leave the stage. You might be there on the side somewhere. Have a team with you to run errands for you. That is something I would tell my students if you are becoming MCs. You cannot be a one-man army. No, you have to be a one-team army. All right. And now I come to the don'ts. And before I come to the don'ts, please remember, MC, go to the stage and introduce yourself. I don't want to have somebody come on the stage and just start speaking. Who are you, my dear? Why are you here? Introduce yourself. Give your name and say that you have been asked by I am Bharati Shevgoor, and I have been asked by the organizers to be your MC for this program of something. I'm happy to be here with you. A warm welcome to all of you. Don't give the welcome speech. You are not there to give the welcome speech. Don't do it. just say one sentence of welcome just to put things in motion. You're not there to give the welcome speech. You're not there to give the vote of thanks. As I have put under my don'ts. The first thing that I have put under my don't is paraphrasing speakers. I have heard MCs repeating what the speakers have said. And it's quite shocking, actually. I want to tell them, we have heard that speaker once. Why are you repeating again? Don't you have anything better to do? Don't we have anything better to do? Please don't repeat what the speaker has said. You've just got to say, if you're saying something positive, I'm sure all of us felt, learned a lot from that speech. We would have been looking forward to listening to something that the speaker said. So with that, we move on to the next one. You have to just manage the transitions from one person to the other. You are not the hero there. The heroes are the function, other speakers, the dancers or the singers. Or you are not the hero. You are just the thread that is that weaves the function together. Don't paraphrase the speakers. You know, I had a very well-known speaker who was in his late 80s, and he's not a Bharat Ratna. He's a literature of Karnataka. What is that highest award that we give for literature? Not Bharat Ratna. I'm sorry, I'm not able to get the name of that. He's an award.
Academy Award, Sahitya Academy Award or something.
Above that. The government of India gives, and I'm shocked that I can't remember.
Jnanapida.
Jnanapith. Thank you very much. Jnanapith awardee. The MC started paraphrasing what he said after he spoke. And he then, I remember, he hadn't yet gone back to sit on his seat. Old senior person who didn't bother what he was saying. We enjoyed listening to him. He didn't go out. He was not a crowd pleaser. He patted the MC's back and said, I have already said all that. Continue. How many times should they listen to one old man's speech? Continue. He patted the MC very kindly, very kind. He was, as I said, late 80s. And another speaker like that, again, no, it is the same speaker. This time I was the MC. And he gave a fiery speech, he's from my district. That is why we were able to call him for function. Otherwise, Jnanapith awardee, from where will you call? Twice I was there. Once I was in the audience, once I was MC. And after he finished speaking, these fiery speakers, you see, you don't know what to say as MC. Like, you don't want to break that silence. You want to honor them by retaining that silence after they speak. So I gingerly came on to the stage and said, after so-and-so has spoken, it is very difficult to continue the meeting, the program. We are grateful to him, but we have other speakers to listen. I'm sure we're looking forward to those as well. And then I continued. I didn't say anything. Who am I to say he spoke wonderfully? I was just about 35 years old at that time. And that's a long time ago. And who am I to speak like that about an 85-year-old? Don't say he spoke very well. We are nobody to say all these things. So we have to be able to say we enjoyed it, we liked it, these sort of things. Not you spoke very well. We're not there to evaluate the speech. So be careful about what we say once the speaker has finished speaking. And as I said, don't give the vote of thanks. What is the vote of thanks fellows or fellow supposed to do if you have thanked everybody in detail? Again, it's only a ritual for the person who has been designated to give the vote of thanks. And it's unfair because that poor person has sat through the whole thing, prepared so much. And I have many times said, I don't know what I'm doing as a person who is delivering the vote of thanks, because so-and-so, the MC, has given detailed vote of thanks. And then I have refreshed what I wrote at the end of it. So if you have a script, sometimes the MC is sure to destroy your script because said everything that you want to say, change. So MC, don't give vote of thanks and ensure that there is no vacuum. When I say vacuum, the next speaker has not come. So it is your role. What are we supposed to do as MCs? We can't do Yakshagana, Bharatnatyam on the speech. Can't do that. Can't go there and dance on the speech. So, and we can't simply keep talking. But you will have to do something. I remember somebody telling me, my director, he was the MC when the New Mangalore Port Trust opened at the inaugural of the New Mangalore Port Trust. And I think Rajesh Pilot was the chief guest at that time. So they had a radio, he arrived, the chief guest arrived, and this other programs are going on. And he was told, okay, now the chief guest has arrived. It will take only 1.5 minutes by vehicle for the chief guest to come from there till the dais. So this man happily announced, we now have the minister, somebody, who is going to be there, etc., etc. Let us look forward to him. And he said, 1.5 minutes, I managed to do something there. 1.5 minutes, this fellow is not there. 2.5 minutes, this fellow is not there. I still said something. At the end of the 5th minute, I knew I was starting to sound foolish. And so what do? I just said, ladies and gentlemen, now listen to some music. Put some music there. And then it so happened that the minister was waylaid by these applications, by people who give you these applications for help, etc. And you used to say they will talk to people, etc. So that 1.5 minutes could not be covered in 1.5 minutes, came after 15 minutes. So my point is, don't have a vacuum, keep connecting to the audience in the meantime, because you are the only source of connection between the organizers and the audience. So dear friends, I have spoken for a fairly long time now, maybe an hour, and I'm up for questioning. These are some things that I wanted to present to you. Please open yourselves to new experiences, wear different hats, while being humble enough to recognize what roles I'm lacking in, what skills I am lacking in learning, but you will become adaptable, you will become resilient to catastrophes that happen on stage when we don different hats. As Toastmasters, let's do that. I'll stop my session here. Over to you, the TMOD of the day.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for all the lovely words. I keep the floor open for the Q&A session. And yes, sir.
If I may, while we are keeping the session open for questions to distinguished Toastmaster Bharati, may I request everyone to turn on their videos so that we can take a quick picture along with our star speaker tonight. Suraj, back to you. You may please coordinate the question answers.
Ma'am, I would myself like to start with the Q&A session. The first question from my end is, as a Toastmaster, we have recently started, it's just been a month or two. So when we are having a speech, we are open with the question, like we are open with the topics. We can choose any topic we want. And that's where I found it difficult. Because when you have a lot of things to do, when you have a lot of topics to present, to choose one topic, what thought can we have on that particular moment?
All right. Suraj, you have the speech objectives given to you. Now, take topics that have an illustration of your own. You should be able to include your life story somewhere. Now, in 25, 30, you're a student, right? 20-year-old. Something like that. In 20 years of your life, you've seen the behavior of your friends, your own responses to them. You've seen things happening in the family. You've seen things happening in society. You have read things. So take up a very small issue, because remember, it's only 7 minutes, Suraj. We cannot bring all the topics of the entire Brahmanda in 7 minutes. Not possible. You will realize that within no time, 6.5 minutes are over. Take a very small topics. For example, one of the speech asks you to give a speech on research. Now, don't give a big market survey of something that you have done in your MBA there. Now, your research can be, for example, how much time that does a 15-year-old spend on a cell phone? Ask some 10 people, for example. I'm just giving you an example. You will get 10, 15-year-olds, if not 15, 20-year-olds, your own classmates. Do a small research like that, small research, and then speak about that. It has to be easy, it has to be accessible to you, and it has to be something that you can speak on from your heart as well. You will be able to speak on a topic like that, am I right? If I give you a report of a research, you will be able to look at that report and, I mean, you do it yourself, but if I give you, in half an hour, you will be able to prepare a 7-minute speech, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
In the beginning, Suraj, take something that is very much a part of your life. When that happens, you will be able to speak even if you forget what you have written. Am I making sense to you, Suraj?
Yes, ma'am. One more thing to add in this, like from few years, I have a passion into writing. I'm writing a lot. So when I prepare a speech, I make sure that I try to rhyme. I try to bring that humor. If I'm bringing that, how much should be should it be a lot of humor, or I should be straight to the point?
Okay. Now, what is lot of humor? I don't know. My point is, Suraj, do not burden yourself with these literary devices. See, I'm from literature, but I would tell you, these are only devices. Let there be, let's say, if you're using metaphors, in a 7-minute speech, use just 2 or 3 metaphors. Don't make it so heavy. I have listened to and I have evaluated a speaker who used 25 metaphors in a 7-minute speech. And people at the end told me, we got lost. Somewhere it went somewhere. So make it simple. As you grow, you will learn to include things in your speech that you had not even planned sometimes. But in the beginning, don't make that heavy. In the beginning, your business has to be being there for those 7 minutes, making sense to yourself, to the audience, but at the same time, including a humorous event, something that happened to you, a few metaphors. It has to be just sprinkled. You can't eat only cherries on the cake. I know you eat cake at your age, but where are the cherries? Just here and there, right? And in one piece, we would appreciate 1 cherry. If there were 5 cherries in that, will you appreciate it? That all these extra fittings, no? I myself am a writer. So extra fittings, don't put too much in one speech. That's what I would advise. Go from simplicity. Then you will gauge how you are able to take it. You have to gauge yourself, Suraj. Am I able to take, if I put all these literary devices, similes, metaphors, blah, blah, blah. A speech without any of it is also fine. Have experiments and then check what happened. After giving 4 or 5 speeches, you will know more than 1 simile. I can't remember. Let me not dump everything and do. That's how it is.
Thank you, ma'am.
Hi, can I ask a question?
Yes, please.
Yeah, good afternoon, Bharati ma'am. Thanks for the wonderful tips. Regarding the MC, yesterday I did an MC role in our Dreamer 7 Toastmasters Club. My doubt is, if I move on to the next speaker without acknowledging the previous speaker, is it okay? Because you mentioned that when a senior person talks, let's move on with the show. How do you acknowledge the previous speaker?
Do that. We do acknowledge. I always say thank you, sir, for this. That's one acknowledgement. Just that. Thank you, sir.
What you do is it? That is it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Just that. Not go on about that. And maybe one thing that you learned. What did I learn? Not how his speech was, his or her speech was. I learned this from you, ma'am. That's it. That is enough.
Without evaluating, without praising, just a thank you. And
Yes. Don't evaluate or praise that. Speak about your learning, how happy you were. And you can say, the audience definitely shares with me the appreciation that we have for having listened to you. You have to be simple, sincere. That's it. Just sincerity and simplicity. Evaluating somebody, you're going, this position. No, don't touch it. Don't do it. That's not our business at all. And especially, see, at least in a Toastmasters meeting, Ashok, it's okay. We learn that. But outside Toastmasters, what I'm saying is, you know what I'm saying. Don't touch somebody else's speech.
Sure. Thanks.
Yeah.
Ma'am, one more question from my end. Right now, as we just started, we took up many roles. We are evaluator, we are timer. So the part of evaluator, we have seen people talking way better than us, but still we need to evaluate. On what parameters should we go? Because somewhere or other, even we evaluating them, we have a complex that yes, I'm not that good as a student. So
Yeah,
when we
I get
evaluate,
it. Yes.
what should be done?
That's very common, very normal, Suraj, very normal. As I said, we have people who are students and we are professors. But you have to remember, keep it in mind, as a senior person, I say this, as people age and as people learn, we learn that there are things that a youngster can tell us, that a rookie can tell us, a newbie can tell us, that a senior person may not be able to. All who join the Toastmasters movement are open to listening to suggestions. That is why we are still there. There are people who have fallen by the wayside in a few years. I have seen that happening. It is because maybe they find it difficult to take suggestion. Maybe. I'm just saying maybe. We are made of different material, all of us. Be certain that those who are in Toastmasters will be happy to listen to a youngster. I always look forward to a youngster evaluating me. And I tell that person, and those people, they come to me, ma'am, how to evaluate you, ma'am? I said, it is not a question of evaluating. You are a Toastmaster, you are a member. I expect you to be aggressive. I expect you to tell me what you would have expected more from my speech. At least do that. If you're disappointed, tell me about it. So my point is, Suraj, they will happily take it. Don't worry about it. The people will take it. They're happy to do it. They won't get it. They won't take it in their workplaces. None of us will do it. But in the Toastmasters meeting, we will take it. In fact, this is like a safe place. We'll take. And you will be able to provide good feedback too.
Thank you, ma'am. Any other questions for the Q&A session from all the other Toastmasters?
Looks like there are only these veterans here. The newcomers seem to be very few. All veterans who really don't have, in the sense, I felt happy to do that. You would have seen that much of what I said was towards veterans only and not to newcomers, because I saw there was a mixture. That's all I'm saying.
Thank you, ma'am. So let's move ahead. Thank you, ma'am, for all your words. It's been an entertaining knowledge session particularly for me and for all the Toastmasters present here. Moving forward, let me call distinguished Toastmaster Arjun Sundaraj. He's a student of a Toastmaster for over 9 years. A student because he believes that this is a practice ground for the real life. But for that, he's just a regular member like you and me who's here to learn. So with great honor and privilege, I would like to call DTM Arjun Sundaraj. Sir, the stage is yours.
Everything was like fantastic. There was one word which he mentioned. I would like to call DTM Arjun Sundaraj. Sir, you're welcome on stage. Why, Suraj? Why? There is absolutely no need for sir and ma'am over here. Thank you so much, Suraj, for the beautiful introduction. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon. It's still afternoon. Yes. After, pretty much 75 minutes of that intense session from DTM Bharati Shevgoor, I'm sitting over here. What am I going to make a difference by talking? Like, when we have someone like Bharati coming and telling us what exactly Toastmasters is all about, it's very simple. There is nothing more that we really would need to add as such. There is a small story which I would want to share at this point in time. I remember when I was giving my third speech, a couple of them might have heard this story as well. When I was giving my third speech, there were one of the objectives of the speech is strive not to use notes. Another objective is control any nervousness that you have while speaking. I was new. This is something that happened on 8th of February, 2013. Okay. I was very new in Toastmasters. 30 seconds into the speech, I forgot what I wanted to share. I stood there were 30 people in the audience looking at 30 pairs of eyes. I stood there in silence. I did not know what to do. I was sitting in the first row. My notes was there on the chair. Went there, violation of one objective, picked up the notes, referred the objective, referred the speech, but still managed to mumble something. I was visibly shivering, violation of the second objective, controlling nervousness. Remember, that's what the objective was. But both the objectives were not fulfilled. I was wondering, why am I even here as a member? The first thing that I wanted to do during the break time was run out of the hall and never ever step into that particular meeting again, or Toastmasters meetings itself as a matter of fact. But what made the difference is when the evaluator came in that day, he said, Arjun, I don't have any doubt. This is the words that he used, not mine. I don't have any doubt about your capability as a speaker. I'm still learning speaking. And he says, I don't have any doubt about your capability as a speaker. Maybe the energy level in the audience was a bit low. And that could have possibly caused you not, or rather caused the nervousness in you and you to forget the speech as a new speaker. That's what he mentioned. I was wondering, why is he really not reprimanding me for not fulfilling the objectives of the speech? You see, when Bharati was talking about the role of an evaluator, this is the episode that came to my mind. Srinath is his name. Srinath made a difference of me staying in Toastmasters till date. If I'm an active member today, he's one of the major reasons, because he instilled that belief system in me, saying that this is what can make a difference to you. In simple terms, ladies and gentlemen, what you speak in every single meeting, be it as a feedback that you give to the member, be it as an accounter that just count the number of hours and then tell the members. It makes a difference to what a member can feel at the end of the day. And that's where the heart which Bharati had in her slide comes into picture, that making the feeling good factor. All right. Now, how is it really going to help you is something that is a big question that comes to your mind as new members, right? Remember, it's a process. A lot of people have told me that Toastmasters is like a marathon. The more you involve yourself, the better you will actually get efficient at it. You slowly get better at focusing on the little aspects, the little roles that we take. The timer, accounter, listener helps us to listen better. When I listen better, I will respect the other person's mode of communication in a better fashion. And these are the things that we use on a daily basis. These are the things that we use to build relationships, not just in our career, not just in our, to grow up in the corporate world as such. But this makes us as better people. At the end of the day, why you join Toastmasters, maybe one or two reasons that you might have. Why you stay in Toastmasters is because it makes you a better person. I would leave you with the words of the first lady international president, distinguished Toastmaster Helen Blanchard. She said, and I quote, "If you can get out of Toastmasters everything you can get out of Toastmasters, you cannot get out of Toastmasters." Ladies and gentlemen, get everything out of Toastmasters. Thank you. all the very best. Back to you, Suraj.
Thank you, DTM Arjun, for the lovely words. So with I just addition to this, one small story from my end, where it was you were talking about third speech. As KBS Titans initially started, I was the person who needed to start, and I was the person who gave the first speech for KBS Titans. And that time, that 20 minutes before the start of the show, the nervousness that I had in me, that I am the first person starting the speech, it should be on point. I am presenting KBS Titans. I had this nervousness. I never had it, but that day I really had. And that day, Pratish sir evaluated me. Since then, I'm going to give my second speech, but I'm all ready. And there's no nervousness inside me. And I'm just waiting for my second speech. That's how the journey has been. So moving ahead, I would like to call DTM Safi sir for the vote of thanks. Sir, the stage is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Suraj. One of the lessons that we take from distinguished Toastmaster Bharati's presentation today is that we should not repeat the speaker, and we should not mention all the points that were mentioned by the speaker. But if I may pick up one particular point that I gathered today and which I have written down in my notes is the quote which says, "Rolling stone gathers no moss." Oh, rolling stones gather no moss. And I think it's a wonderful message that all of us need to carry in our mind, and especially Toastmasters who are new needs to keep in their mind to keep moving, take on roles, anything that is available at the club. Last week, we had a session in Advanced Toastmasters of Kerala where one of the champion speakers, Aditya, was there, and he was mentioning about Deepak Menon, who was the international president. So when Aditya went to Delhi, Deepak invited him to go to a club meeting with him, and Deepak was the sergeant at arms at that club, while being the international president of Toastmasters. So, keep this in mind. None of the roles in a club meeting is less important. Every role has its own importance. You learn by doing any and every role in a club. I'll just give you my example. I was moving from UAE to Qatar in 2009. So I was in Toastmasters around 7 years. I had grown up to become a division governor. I had given quite a few educational sessions, especially on the topic of how to manage a contest. So once I moved to Doha, I took a sabbatical for some time. So after that, the then division governor approached me and said, "You have been a division governor, you have managed a lot of contests, you have done this education. Why don't you come and present this for our club officers?" I said, "Why not?" And I went in. By the time I had not attended a Toastmaster meeting for almost 6 months, even though I had retained my membership. That was an intentional decision because of my job change, and I had different priorities at that time. Now, after 6 months, I went in to do this educational session. It happened multiple times before, not just once, not twice, multiple times before, and to larger audiences. And I was speaking to around 30 or 40 people on that particular occasion. I myself experienced how rusty I was. I was not able to get my thoughts to the audience in the smooth fashion that I used to in the past. And then I had to spend another 6 months to get over that and become smoother myself. Definitely not perfect, but once you are in Toastmasters, use every single opportunity at the club level, at any level for that matter, and speak in front of the audience. That is the only way that you can improve your public speaking skills, and lead at every opportunity. That's the only way that you can improve in your leadership skills. So if nothing else today, Bharati ma'am, the message that I will take is, a rolling stone gathers no moss. And a quote which I just looked up, always get up and keep moving forward. It may be slow, but it is still progress. Wish you all the best to KBS Titans and lead orators and all the lead clubs. Pratish, we are coming to Palakkad soon. And thank you, Bharati.
Most welcome, sir.
And Bharati ma'am, thank you very much for your wonderful session.
Thank you, veterans, for being there. You don't know how pleasing it is to see your faces and to be with you and speak to you. Thank you, all the youngsters and all those who attended on a steamy Sunday afternoon. The amount of sweat that has come down is gargantuan. You must come to Mangalore. It's a nice place, but it's very hot. It's very warm.